I pressed it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Evan's coming at you here. Have office manager. I promise you I'll be able to use English words today. Alyssa with us, and just we were talking about what are we seeing, what are we hearing, and and how we can best support people along their journey. And right now, we have people at a lot of different phases or stages of their fitness journey. And specifically, I'm talking to people that maybe have been on this journey for a while, whether with us or on your own. And you've failed quite a bit, and you're frustrated, and it's totally normal to be it. So I want to talk about like what to do in these times of frustration, and how to manage frustration. Are you crazy for being frustrated? All that kind of fun stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you are frustrated, what are some things to do? One is to pause and press, and pause to assess, and so when I say pause, I don't mean necessarily stop the journey, stop doing what you're doing. When I say pause, is just take a mental, maybe it's an hour, or just a car ride, and think about, okay, the first thing you want to assess is, why am I on this journey? Constantly, we're constantly reading and growing, and one of the things we're learning is that the why is more important than the how, right? So it's, your kid is in a burning building, right? So you don't really ask yourself, how do I get up to the floor that they're on? You start thinking about, that's my child, and the importance, and it's the why that motivates you. When I remember when I first started, I used to sell modular homes, and we used to talk about, like, oh, you don't know how to do this, so I can't do this. And someone says, would you walk across, a plank, 20 feet in the air? And I was like, of course not. You see me walk. And I was like, what if your child was on the other side of a burning building? It was like, of course I would. So you'd walk over, hot coals barefooted for that. So you have to really think about, okay, why am I on this journey? And the best way to is identify that why is not settling with the first answer. Because the first answer is like your brain's cop out. It's like, why am I doing this? To be fit, to lose weight, to
Hmm.
look good in a dress, right? Your first why is your cop out. But then you have to really start digging in. Why is it important for you to fit in that dress? Or for more energy, why is more energy is important to you? And you start digging 5, 6, 7 layers deep, and you're going to find that there's this emotional cause that puts us on this journey. And that's going to, first at least start encouraging you to realize that, hey, this is what you should be doing. Like, you should be taking care of your health. I just finished reading this book, and in the book they were talking about, like, fit people are in the gym, and that's almost like a duh statement, like, duh, fit people are in the gym. But no, think about it, it's the people who are fit that go to the gym. you know
Hmm.
and I love it. I talk to clients all the time, and one of the biggest compliments and insults at the same time is when someone tells me, at the end of the year I'm going to look like you, right? And I'm like, I spent like 11 years to look like this. And you want to do that in a year? That's like a freshman in college saying, at the end of the semester I'm gonna have my doctorate, right? No. You're gonna have to go through the struggle bus like everybody else before you get that doctorate. So that's the mindset is, why am I doing this? Pause to assess that. Pause to assess, where have I, failed in my journey, and what caused those failures, and don't spend too much time in the rearview mirror, but a quick glance over, like, oh, I realized that, on the weekends I do this, or whenever I go to my friends' houses, I do this. Because by identifying these triggers, then it's easy to figure out, okay, what could I do to counterbalance that? Like, for me, when I get stressed, I eat tons of chocolate chip cookie. So, well, I can say, Evans, don't get stressed ever again, but then I'm lying to myself, right? So then I have to figure out under stress, what is a better coping mechanism? And if I can manage either my stress better or I can manage how I cope with stress better, then, I don't have the weight fluctuation tied to overeating on chocolate chip cookies, so that's one portion, but I want to talk to someone who's maybe not even there yet. You're feeling fatigue and you're feeling failure because you're feeling overwhelmed. So you may assess and you may go, man, I'm so overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, when you use ambiguous words, right? What I mean by ambiguity is the opposite of specificity, right? It's not exact, so you start saying things like, it's just a lot. It's just so much. It's a lot. What's a lot? A lot. Everything's a lot, and it's just that feeling you're feeling is your capacity reaching its lid. It's a normal feeling. It's not like, oh, there's something wrong with me. No, it means you're a human being and you're feeling overwhelmed right now. And what happens is that if you want to think about capacity and your will, it's like a battery. And, every day you're spending a portion of this battery with other things. So the reason why some people can do fitness and it seems like they're very successful with it for long periods of time is because the amount of physical energy that they spent to do this journey is not as much as someone else. Basically, when you're brand new, it's like driving a car, right? You have a really nice car, you do not give it to a teenager who just got their license. Why? Because they're using their conscious mind to drive. So it takes up a lot of energy and there's going to be accidents, or the potential of accidents. You don't want them to turn on the radio. It's like, you want the car keys, give me your cell phone. And the reason why is because the front of your brain is consciously thinking, turn on the indicator, look in the wind, in the mirror, all these different things, 10, 2, 11, 1, no, 10, 2. Your brain is thinking about all that. You drive in the car with me, my knees are driving, I'm eating food, and I'm in a conversation at the same time. And you're like, dude, you didn't miss anything. Half the time, by the time you're 35 or even 25, you've been driving long enough, you don't even realize if you ran a light or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How many times have you got home like, did I run any lights? I don't remember stopping. And the reason why is because your subconscious brain says this is regular activity, so I'm going to relieve you of the stress of worrying about it. I'll take over.
Mm.
And you drive with your subconscious mind. You just automatically see a yellow, and depending how you train your subconscious mind, you press on the brake or the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And then so fitness is the same way. So people who've done it for longer periods of time, they do have this this thing that's happening subconsciously that makes the journey easier. But if you're feeling overwhelmed on the baby steps, then what you have to do is find a way to make the baby steps smaller.
Mm.
So when I was doing construction, the regulations for a step is 7 inches, right? But if a 7-inch step is too big for you, you may need to start on a slant. You may need to start on a half a step. Meaning, the first thing that any nutrition program or fitness program has in it that's going to be, and we'll talk specifically nutrition, and I'll kind of pivot exercise in. But on the nutrition side, the first thing that any good program has is a way to build awareness, right? Because none of us are just going, you know what, I'm just going to eat pounds of pizza and this and this, and I'm just going to get drunk all the time with this effort to gain weight. Weight gain is not conscious unless you're trying to gain weight. And people who try to gain weight because they're underweight or are smaller struggle to gain weight harder than people who try to lose weight. It's actually harder to put on weight for those people than it is for people to gain. I mean, to whatever, you know what I mean? It's harder to put it on if you want to put it on than it is to lose it if you want to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you do is you find, if you're frustrated right now, back down, like whatever step you are, and maybe you're not aware of the steps, so I'll kind of go through them. Whatever step you are, um, you have to find a way to back out of it. So maybe it's just saying, I give an example for our clients, right? We believe in flexible dieting. We don't do if it fits your macros. We like the idea of real food that fits your macros, counting calories. Everybody knows that calories are important because they're a certain amount of energy consumption. Calorie calculators are horrible because they assume that everybody's the same weight, same genetics, same exercise activity, intensity. It doesn't put into the calculation that I have a hypoactive thyroid and I have a pretty low body fat percentage. And I train, though I don't train for long, I train hard. All those kind of things are not in a calculator.
Mm-hmm.
So calculators are garbage, and we can spend a whole day talking about that. But the calories are important, but calories by themselves are not, because they do different things in the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like if you work for the government. At one point, it had to be a blue pen, and then another point, it had to be a black pen. And you couldn't write on a document with a blue pen if it was only supposed to be a black pen. But then a red pen is used to do certain things. So even though they're all pens and they all have ink in it, each color had a different purpose. And in your body, protein, carbs, and fat do different things. So we look at macronutrients as to say, hey, let's track those macros and see how they influence them. For some people, that's level one, but honestly, some people have to start at like 0.5 or whatever's before level one, which is like foundation. You go to college and you've been out of high school for a long period of time. They make you take like the foundation of English or English fundamentals and math fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because when was the last time you used the Pythagorean theorem? Yeah,
Well.
yeah. That's the stuff they used to fill up your day in high school so your parents couldn't get free babysitting. But that's a whole nother topic. So they say we got to reteach you the basics of math. They got to reteach you the basics of English so you can go through a collegiate level. Well, when someone first starts, they may just need to just track what they're eating and get awareness in. Before they're hitting these goals and doing these fancy calculations, they just need to go, what am I putting in my mouth? Because the research does show that people who write down what they eat actually eat less food than people who don't. Right? Because there's a psychological component of, okay, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to write down. I feel a certain way about annotating the fact that I ate that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like, yeah, I'm just not going to eat that. And so whether it's logging through an app or writing it down, it doesn't really matter. But that first step may be where you need to get back down to. For some people, you may be at a point where you're tracking and you're in the high levels and you're eating really well, and you're tracking every single thing that you're eating, and that may be causing some stress, and you made it back down to, hey, I'm just going to focus on hitting my protein again, or hey, I'm going to take a quick break. But see, the challenge, what I see what people do is they take unregulated breaks.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by this is I'm frustrated, so I'm taking a break. Well, for how long? Until when? And so you may need to take a break, but your break needs to have a restart, because breaking for too long or without this restart will cause you to stay where you are. And I see it time and time again. We're blessed to go places, and we served a lot of people over the years. So we're able to see clients who've gotten great success who said, I'm good, and it took a break. But they were hoping that the break kept them here. But the reality is that if this was their weight, it just kind of creeps until it's painful again. You don't want to just like break, because like if you stop going after your goal, do you ever hit it? Right? For many of us, if we look at this deep why, is because we want to be around for our loved ones, or we don't want to be on disease, or we know somebody who got their toe, foot, ankle, leg chopped off due to diabetes, or we feel embarrassed in our bikini clothes, so we don't even go near the water anymore. It's these different things, we the lights are off in our bedroom because we're uncomfortable with how we're looking. We don't look in the mirror at ourselves in the bathroom because we don't like what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on this journey to heal these hurts and these challenges, physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, physiological challenges that we're having. We're looking to overcome that. So if we stop with an indefinite restart date, do we ever hit our goal? And the answer is absolutely not. So I just wanted to get on here for a little bit and talk about the fact that it is normal to feel frustrated. It is normal to say, hey, and what you need to do is assess where you are and just back it down a notch. If tracking is frustrating, assess where you are and don't track. But you don't back it down a notch and say, whew, I relieve my stress. I'm gonna stop doing this forever. No, I back it down. I look at where I'm at, get some wind under my sail, and then I go back up.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it may be a weekend. I may coach a client and say, look, I don't want you to log anything for 2 weeks. I just want you to eat what you think is healthy, but I want to see your daily weight. I may have somebody else who's tracking their food every day, but the weight is bothering them. And I say, I don't want to see your weight every other day. Weigh yourself. I may have a client who the weekends, they go away for the weekends, and what they eat on the weekends, we both understand that that's what this phase of their life that they're in, but their weekend weight's always up. And that discourages them because they've been beat up by the scale and what the scale means and what it represents. So we may take out the scale on Monday. We both know it's up, but it's just the psychology of seeing the numbers what drives them nuts. So we pull that out. So what I'm saying is that, you have to, in that pause and assess time frame, assess where am I, what's causing the challenging, where am I frustrated, what can I do to move forward? Now, a good coach, if you're transparent and communicating with your coach, they'll just tell you what it is. And that's why I love coaching, because I don't have to be the genius.
Mm-hmm.
You can have someone say, oh, Alyssa, this is what you should do. So, I know typically people have questions through this kind of thing here. Feel free to ask me, some of the questions there, Alyssa, and then I'll kind of answer it with managing this frustration and kind of what to do when you do experience some of it.
Okay. Well, I think one thing that people struggle with is this idea of like perfection, where everything that they've seen is like, oh, you need to follow 100% to see results. And then when you don't do that, you get down on yourself. And then it just creates this overwhelmed, frustrated feeling and internal dialogue where it's like, well, why can't I do this? I'm successful in other areas of my life. Why can't I be successful at this one? So how would you sort of adjust that mindset when it comes to this perfection idea?
Cool. So if someone's chasing perfection, and we're taught that way, right? I'm a summa cum laude, alphabet soup, and all this other kind of cool stuff. So we're in a society that, perfection is at the helm. The reality, though, is that your body doesn't need perfection to perform. Right? So what you just need is progress. So I give an example, so that's how you get there. If you say, hey, I want to get success, because what's more important to you? Being perfect on your plan or hitting your goal? Right?
I mean, hitting the goal, hopefully.
Hitting the goal. So if you're not perfect and you hit the goal, are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if your coach is requiring perfection, that shows you the inability and insufficiency within your coach.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they understand how your body works, then progress means it was better than it was before. That means you should move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Perfect is like, boop, and I'm there. You don't need perfection to move forward. You need progress. We have a guy right now, and he's kind of like the talk of the place because he's down all this weight and he's eating Royal Farms chicken. So, I would never recommend that. Just the disclaimer out there. Not that it's bad. It's just not something that I recommend. Eat Royal Farms fried chicken. But he's doing it. He's tracking it. He's doing his thing with his Miller Lights, I think, or something like that, and crushing it. Now, why is he crushing it? Because we started with awareness. He's learning some pieces in there. He's moving progressively towards, what his body needs. Because even a perfect plan is going to fail you.
Mm.
Your body's super adaptive, right? And it says, oh, that's what we're going to do? Okay, cool. We'll just regulate for that, and now we're safe. So that's something I would say with your mindset is give yourself room to learn, because that's what's called a fixed mindset. And if you're going to be successful, just like you are in other areas in your life, you're going to need a growth mindset. And this fixed mindset is I have to be perfect to win. The growth mindset is I'm going to consistently learn, adapt, adjust, and overcome, and I'm going to win. And winning is not a finite scenario where it's like winning is 6-pack abs, winning is 20 pounds less.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with that, and I think that's very closely attuned to this perfection, and that's why people yo-yo, is they hit the goal. Their only focus was a set goal.
Mm-hmm.
So then they stop doing the behavior, because why would I need to continue study chemistry once I pass my final?
Right.
Right. If you think about how we're trained to have very finite and fixed belief systems and thought processes. Right. I study chemistry for the chemistry test. Once I stop the test, I stop studying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your health is not a chemistry test. It's like something you're going to keep your whole life, or you're going to pay tons of money for at the end of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea in there. I love Keisha. She's just like, I have the best coaches that keep me online, LOL, or in line. My issue is I think my weight should go down. However, they showed me that when someone loses interest for the first in the early stages of their journey, I'm the one who loses interest in the early stages. Absolutely. So let's talk about that, really quick, and then we'll open up to anything else. Is you should lose weight. It's just that when you first start making changes, right, and we're taught that way. Why? You see some hot model that did not follow that program. I think it's hilarious, like the marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see this hot model who did not follow that program say, oh, you just need to do this in 14 days. And you're going to get these ridiculous results. But the only way to do that is you don't gain any muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So you start exercising like Keisha's doing, and you start putting on some muscle, you're going to lose some fat, and that weight's going to shift. So your weight may stay the same or even increase over the first month. But if your inches are down, that means you lost fat.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you ever try to put on an inch in your bicep or in your thigh through muscle, man, that is so hard, it's ridiculous. Or challenging, because we don't like the word hard here. So, so if you're losing inches, then it's game on, and nobody wants a bigger waist.
Right.
So it's like, oh, my waist got a little smaller. Because if you didn't look at the scale, but you fit all the clothes that you wanted to fit, and you liked the way you looked in the mirror, would it matter how much you weighed? No.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we think at a certain weight, that would equate to a certain outcome. Because part in my doctor's office that tells me every time I go there that I'm borderline obese.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah, we're inundated. Every time we go to the doctors, it's like, oh, your BMI is super high, and you need to lose weight. And the reality is that it's the fat that we want to lose, not necessarily weight.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, and at a certain point, if I'm losing fat, then the weight's going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to happen. But I just want to encourage people, because I see a lot of times people go too hard in the paint in the beginning, and they try too hard, and they're like, I'm just going to do all everything. And it's like, no, just breathe, relax, keep it light, and then continue to add. If you like doing this, okay, do this, but let's find ways to creep it in a little bit at a time. Let's figure out how to do a weekend successfully. Let's figure out how to travel. Let's see if we can, cut out these non-tracked cravings. Let's see if we can incorporate foods that we like into our plan, so we can enjoy that and be human.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's the social component, and very few people are so rebellious in their personalities that they're not concerned with what other people view them in their world. So
Mm-hmm.
I just say be encouraged, communicate, communicate, communicate. And, if you're hitting this wall and you're feeling this overwhelmed, using words like a lot and it's just too much and it's more, then that just says, hey, your capacity is low. You can still move forward. But I want to say it was a Martin Luther King quote. He says, when you can't run, walk. When you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the idea. I'm writing walk, run, move forward, and see if it shows up in the Google search. Whenever you can't find anything, you just Google it.
Mm-hmm.
So yep, it is Martin Luther King, and it says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thought process in fitness, and that's what you do. You say, okay, what can I do to keep moving forward? Standing still for too long doesn't make me move forward. And I wrap up this thought here. It's very much like running a marathon or any long distance run. Now anybody knows me, I'm talking from what I've seen. I do not run. But here's the deal. I remember I was in the military, and I'll never forget it. My ego got shot when I got to tech school because they do this run, and everybody just runs. You run for like 2 miles. And, I come out the gate, and, I'm a pseudo athlete, so I'm running as fast as I possibly can at the time. And then I'm just gassed. And I'm seeing this whole herd of people just jog right by me. Then I get up, and then boom, I'm just weaving, and then I'm like running really hard. I'm gonna catch this person. I'm looking at their heels, the whole thing, and I'm just gassing. They're just trotting along. They finished the 2 miles, go upstairs, take a shower, all before I'm done running this race.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because they just found the steady pace that they can maintain long term versus burnout. And for most people, it's not even run real hard, stop, and continue to run. For a lot of people, is run real hard, stop, start back the 2 mile.
Mm-hmm.
Because they go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
They run real hard and then go backwards. Run real hard and go backwards. So be patient with yourself. Take your time. Lean into your coach. Challenge them. Get understanding of what you need to do the effort and the work, and then baby step into it, and you'll see success. So love you guys, but it was on my mind because I know a lot of people right now, there's some people that are fresh out the gates. They're just excited. Life is good. They don't even need to watch this. And then we have other people who are not even clients, and they're experiencing frustration because they've done 6 different fads. They're afraid to even eat food and all that kind of weird stuff. You just need to call us and we'll help you through that gear. But then we do have people that are legitimately frustrated because they're like, hey, it's just a lot. I feel overwhelmed. And for you, you need to figure out, where are you feeling this? How do I reassess what my goals are? If I stop, do I still hit my goals? If I don't stop and I can't stop, then how do I make a quick adjustment and move forward? So Buddy and Kelly, who runs Genesis Fitness out in Philadelphia, says thanks. We love you, my man. He's an awesome dude. So if you're in the Philly area, definitely look up Genesis as well. So talk to you guys in a bit. Have a wonderful day.